to control your damage. Joe Reichel is here. He's one of the owners of Damage Control Services. They professionally will repair things that have been damaged in homes, whether it's from a flood, a fire, or a tree falling down, or anything else. And he does this radio show so he can answer your questions about those things that may have happened to you, or perhaps you would like to fix something yourself and you think you just need a little help from a professional. That's your invitation to call Joe right now, 622-9622, and we'll give you Joe's number at his business during the course of the show a few times. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
How's everything?
Everything's going good. You might want to do some new construction or remodeling, too. I don't think you mentioned that.
Remodeling, yes.
Or an addition. We do those.
Yeah. One thing I'll always forget about is the floor.
What about the floor?
Because whenever I think of remodeling, I don't think of the carpet. I don't think of the floor.
Okay.
But I mean, it really made a difference here, not...
Flooring is one of those things that whenever you put it in, it changes the look of the house completely. Flooring is one of those...
That's a good point, yeah.
One of those features of a home that completely changes the room.
Yeah.
Drywall, paint, it doesn't make as big of an impact as the carpet or the tile or the wood, whatever you put in.
Did I share this with you? And please don't think it's being insensitive of me, but we went to this...
Kevin McDonald, Allstate Insurance. If you need insurance, call Kevin.
We went, Rob and I went to play music at a nursing home, and a couple of the rooms had this beautiful wood flooring in it, and we were commenting, wow, it looks so nice. You're so used to seeing carpeting, and there was actually a functional reason for that, and again, this is where the insensitive part, please forgive me for this, but they said this is a practical thing, because if a patient is incontinent or whatever, it really makes it a lot easier and less embarrassing.
Easier for cleanup.
And less embarrassing for them.
Right.
So, because if it's in the carpet, it stays in the carpet. Okay.
Right.
But I said, gosh, it really looks better, in my mind, than the carpeting. And some of them had throw rugs, small rugs, on top of the wood.
And that's where you'll see a lot of the newer laminates even look like wood. I know whenever Ocala Regional Hospital, they did a remodel not too long ago, and they put all...
I saw that. That's not real
laminate.
wood?
No, that's not a real wood.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah. And probably wherever you're at's not a real wood either.
That's what I was just wondering.
Hello.
Yeah.
Smiles and ugly faces. That was nice.
An ugly face.
She was making an ugly face.
Oh, no.
Howdy.
There should be a natural in a parade.
Parades would be fun.
We should do a parade this year.
That would be good.
I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So anyway, a lot of times they'll do a wood laminate, and it looks like wood. It's very functional. It's a great flooring to put down because it's durable.
Yeah.
It doesn't wear like wood does, so you wouldn't have to worry about eventually having to refinish it. And it's also water resistant, unlike wood. So, it
beats wood, doesn't it?
The wood laminates, the wood-looking laminates are a great product.
Wow. Have you ever...
And some of them even have a little cushion to them, so it's not, it's pretty comfortable walking on. It's not hard.
Do you know, whenever I've been in recording studios for music, they have like floating rooms, I guess, to keep the sound out. Like the drummer would be in a booth that is a floating booth. Is that difficult to make, where you actually have a floor that's not quite touching the other floor underneath it? I don't know. I don't even know how they do it.
I don't know how they do it either. I've never heard of one.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
I've never been in a sound.
But it's tons of
like
wood.
It's important radio people, Larry.
It's tons of wood, though.
Okay.
So
it's just a wood floor that floats, huh?
Yeah. I guess the best way to explain it is it's a booth that could literally be removed if there was a big enough door. But usually a drummer sits in there because the drum can be so loud,
right,
that you want to keep it isolated, and you don't even want the floor vibrating from it. So,
speaking of wood, last night we had a little storm come through Ocala, and over behind the Sam's Club off of 200, there was a tree got blown over onto a house.
Oh, no.
So we were out there last night.
I had no clue.
Yep. And in the neighborhood, there was another tree that was blown over onto the road in the same neighborhood. So I don't know, just a little wind gusts come through there. Well, the pop-up storms that we get this time of year that we talk about quite often. And this was a neighbor's tree blew over onto a person's house, onto the neighbor's house, and they called me. And
that's my fear. My neighbor has a big tree, and I'm always afraid of it falling.
Is it is it leaning to your property?
Sorta, yeah.
Well, then what you should do is write a certified letter to them stating that you would like them to clean up their tree. Because it endangers your property.
And then?
Then they'll have to do it. And if they don't, you'll have recourse if something happens and that tree falls on your property.
And without that, no recourse. Huh?
Without that, no recourse. That makes them responsible to take care of that tree. And that's the situation with the tree last night. The homeowner that it fell on, I'm out there working for them. Their insurance will pay to have that tree cut up to the property line and taken off. The tree from the property line to the root base where the owner of the tree, their house, that's their responsibility to take care of that.
Wow, okay. So did you post pictures on your Facebook page?
I posted some pictures last night. Yeah.
How bad was the house damaged?
It's surprisingly as big of a tree as it is, huge pine tree, it's not much damage.
That's good. Why, because it didn't hit it directly or something?
I don't know. Either it fell slowly or it hit it directly. I mean, it's laying on top of the house.
Oh, wow.
But it just kind of the way it went down, it didn't cause a lot of damage.
Then the dry conditions that we have right now.
Well, it was wet last night. Water went inside the house.
It was wet in the house.
Yeah.
But isn't it relatively dry right now, or is that just me? It seems like it's dry when I cut the grass. It seems dusty.
We've had a drier spring so far. Is that what you were getting at?
It seems like it. I mean, I'm just talking about my yard.
We could use some more rain, for sure.
But in years past, when this has happened, and I brought this up earlier with Carol Ann, once the rain started, that's when you started seeing sinkholes. After it was dry, and then suddenly there was rain again.
Yep. That's when a lot of times the water levels in the aquifer is what they call it. The aquifer, it's depleted. It goes down. That opens up a lot of these caverns that are underground, and as they dry out, then the water comes in and it causes those underground caverns to collapse.
Makes you wonder if a lot of the lakes, years and years ago, didn't start out as sinkholes.
A lot of them did. Yeah. A lot of them had lower depressions because of sinkholes, and that's where the lakes were. What caused the lakes?
So have you ever helped fix a driveway? Something that's not really a structure, but just something like that. Like if the driveway were to sink in, obviously you couldn't park your car there anymore until it was fixed.
And that's where a lot of times people they have to do. They have to prop up and fix. Yeah, we've had projects with homeowners where we've had to do that.
Is there anything we can do?
A lot of times, and sometimes it's just erosion as well, depending on the lay of the ground, how the water runs.
Right.
One that I'm thinking of was a situation where it was, erosion that was causing the driveway to sink in a certain area.
Anything we can do to prevent that? Like just bring in bags of sand or something like that?
It really depends on the situation.
Well, let's take a little break. We'll be back. The phone number right now is 622-9622. Joe, what is your phone number?
My phone number is 352-817-6574. That's my direct line.
Okay. And we'll make sure we repeat that. But if you'd like to call Joe right now, whether it's a question or just want to offer your comment on anything we've said, the number is 622-9622. We'll be right back with Joe Reichel and Damage Control after this.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny and warm today with a hit-or-miss thunderstorm, high 87 to 91. Partly cloudy tonight, low 67 inland, 72 along the coast. Tomorrow, times of clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorm in spots mainly during the afternoon hours over the interior, the high 88 to 92. Thursday, partly sunny with a shower or thunderstorm around in the afternoon, high 84 at the coast, 90 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Chip, what are the two most important reasons people buy from Ford Lincoln of Ocala in Village Ford of Bellevue?
Easy. They've shopped everywhere else and found out that we have the selection and the price that can't be beat.
Exactly. People buy from us because they know when it comes to new Fords, no one comes close to our huge inventory of every model, equipment package, and color Ford has to offer.
And when it comes to price, Ford Lincoln of Ocala or Village Ford of Bellevue is unbeatable. Backed by our low price guarantee in writing.
We invite you to visit our websites at FordofOcala.com or MyVillageFord.com. View our complete inventory of new and certified pre-owned Fords. Then check out the long list of positive reviews from our customers who have purchased or had their vehicles serviced with us.
Although selection and price are important, you also receive the benefits of a courteous factory-trained certified staff that just makes doing business with Ford Lincoln of Ocala or Village Ford of Bellevue a real joy.
Come in for the selection.
Come in for the price.
Come to Ford Lincoln of Ocala or Village Ford of Bellevue, your family of Ford dealerships where we've got what it takes.
Wow, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Who did this?
P&P Tikis and more, of course. Now I have a tiki hut for shade, and I can enjoy the sounds of my cascading fountain while feeding my koi fish in my own pond. They even fixed my fence and redid all my landscaping. Nice to see a professional, reliable, family-owned business. Yes, P&P Tikis is the natural Florida tiki builder and water features designer. With free estimates, P&P Tikis is licensed and insured. Call 352-877-3307 for your very own tiki hut and more. That's 352-877-3307. P&P Tikis.
One of the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking, will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with hosts Francois and Julian Pozenet. Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
All right, 13 minutes before 11 o'clock. Joe Reichel is here, and the phone number to call is 622-9622. During the break, you said something that reminded me of something. Years ago, I worked at a radio station, and it was basically a shed in the middle of a field. And a storm came and blew off part of the roof. And the, what do you call these tiles up here? These
Acoustical ceiling?
Yeah, so they all fell through. Everything, the rain was pouring through. Mm-hmm. And we had this...
They're not very waterproof.
Yeah, and so I went up...
Or water resistant.
I literally went up on the roof in the rain with this very thick plastic that we had sitting around for some reason and nailed it to the roof just to prevent it. Even though the nail holes probably did a little damage, it was better than that water pouring through.
Yes. And that's where, like the home that we were working on last night, tree falls, several punctures through the roof, even limbs down into the house, into the room. So we had to go in and clean up inside the house and outside. But, in the meantime, water's pouring in on their house until we can get the tree off and get things cleaned up. So... hey buddy, I should say hi to him, as he's walking in. But he always says hi to me, and I never say hi to him. So, but as we're cleaning that up and getting it all taken care of, meanwhile water's still coming in, and have to clean that up and dry that up. And one thing that homeowners can do in order to be prepared for something like that, and only get on the roof if you can. Don't think that you have to get up there if it's not safe, if it's during the storm. But if you have a tarp or are able to cover up and prevent damage, it's always best to do that. But don't do it if, for some reason, it's not safe to do so.
So things to have on hand, one of the things that I don't think you've ever mentioned before is to have a tarp.
Yeah, you don't have to have a huge tarp. we've got tarps that are 20 feet by 30 feet.
Just keep them on hand.
But you don't have to have one of those. just...
And what is the best way to... the guy nailed it. Is that a bad idea?
No, that's not a bad...
That's okay?
Yeah, that can be...
Because you can fix that later on?
Yeah, that can be fixed. But anything that's going to hold it in place, a lot of times what we do is use we call them furring strips, which is a 1x2 board, and just nail it down to the roof or screw it down. And that'll hold that tarp in place. So, these are what we're talking about is just a quick temporary fix. We've been in situations where, the whole tree's up there still and we can't get the tree off the house, so we'll just throw a tarp over
the tree?
Over the tree.
Oh, really?
Or over the limbs or where the damage is, just to prevent more water from coming in until the rain stops or until the tree service can get there to the crane, whatever it takes to get it off. So
good advice, yeah. The scary thing is if there's lightning and you're up on a roof.
And that's the thing. Don't get up there if it's not safe. And, a lot of times, things that, like a tarp, things that you could have on hand to prevent damage from happening. Some of that heavy plastic, like you're talking about, Visqueen, a tarp that's 10 foot by 10 foot, and you may even just use that to cover your furniture or something from getting
that's
more
a good
damage
point
on
too.
it.
Yeah.
Sometimes if water's coming in, I know a quick fix is on like the legs of furniture is to put a small piece of aluminum foil on the bottom of the furniture. That does two things. It'll keep the carpet from getting stained from the chairs or whatever's there.
Okay.
And it'll also keep that water from coming up on the furniture.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
As long as the water's not deeper than wherever the aluminum foil. Yeah. So these are just little things that homeowners can do to be prepared, and you never know. A section of rope, have some duct tape.
Yeah.
In case a window gets broken, you can duct tape some plastic over it or something. So, these are all just things that, it's good to have on hand, in your supplies in the event of a disaster.
Right.
But only do it if it's safe. That's the main thing.
Let me go to the phone, and you're all welcome to call. If you want to call, the number is 622-9622. Good morning. You're on the air with Joe.
Hello, Joe.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
See, I did a little project that I do every 6 months at home, and I thought, boy, I'm going to call your show and just put it across on the air here. It's something that might be helpful for some people. It has to do with your clothes dryer. Of course, the screen. You should always be cleaning that out after every
load.
Company. But I had my aunt and uncle years back had a fire in their dryer, and they lost quite a bit of their house. But they said that the fire department guy told them not only to keep that pipe cleaned and have that either have it changed or cleaned it once a year, but the screen itself about twice a year, which I do. Take it in the kitchen and soak it with dish soap water and wash it off because it gets a film on it, and it really doesn't let the lint stop the lint correctly. So I do that twice a year, every 6 months, and I think I'm doing the right thing. I never had a problem, but I just thought I'd put that across in your program.
I appreciate you calling about it. That is one thing that causes a lot of fires is the dryer vent, because they get filled with that lint and will heat up and causes fire. There's a lot of companies out there that offer service to clean those if you need, but it's not difficult to do. And if you have a shop vac, you can typically stick it in that hose and either blow it out or suck it out. And then the screen that you're talking about, the reason that gets clogged up a lot of times is because of the fabric softeners that we use. That gets caught in that screen, or it coats that screen, and will create it inhibits the airflow.
Right, exactly. And I guess I usually tip dish soap every 6 months in the kitchen and submerge it and scrub it off and let it dry and put it back in, and it keeps it clean. But you don't want to take a chance with something like that. But
no, you don't.
That's the way it's supposed. Another thing too, real quick. When we first moved in here, I had a roof to my house, and the guys were up there, and he said, "You know that your dryer vent is blocked. It was clogged, and so all the little filter stuff and all the little whatever that is stuff got up in there, and it jammed up, and it was actually said there was just a little bit of hole where the air was going through. So right away I had to get that fixed. But I'm glad I had the roof guy up there to find that for me, because I never would have guessed that.
Yeah. A lot of times people don't know where their dryer vent comes out at. I mean, I've seen them come, just blow up into an attic, which isn't necessarily safe. And then, like you're saying, blowing out onto the rooftop. And, it's important to make sure that is cleaned out. And then sometimes they just come out in the wall. And I've seen those where that cover, that plastic, and unfortunately it's a plastic cover that gets clogged up or stays open, and I've seen where animals have crawled up in those. So, and that can create a problem there too. So it's always important to make sure that those louvered covers are, they stay cleaned and people can just to stay safe there.
Right. Yeah, you wouldn't want to vent that in your attic because you're adding moisture up there, and not down here in Florida. You don't want to do that.
And that's a good point, but a lot of times, unfortunately, people do it.
Right. Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Excellent. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the phone line is open if you want to call 622-9622. Robert just sent me a text, said that the pictures are on your Facebook page.
Yep.
I'm looking for them right now. So, there they are. Oh, wow.
So, pretty big pine tree. And that was a neighbor's tree. It looked healthy, and ended up...
Looked healthy, but it still fell over.
And it still fell over.
Was it up by the roots? Did the roots come up?
It did.
Yeah.
But, and here's the thing, too. That homeowner, the gutters, because of that pine tree, were clear full of debris. So... that really needs, they need to have those cleaned out. And he said he gets up there regularly, but pine trees are a very dirty tree as far as, they're nice, but they're a dirty tree as far as getting in the gutters and all those little pine cones that fall off and
it looks like the lighter part of the tree. Does that make sense?
Lighter in color?
No,
lighter in weight.
Am I wrong? Is it just it's the upper part, which would be the more velocity because it's falling the farthest.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm not sure where you're going with this. So
it looks like the
you.
upper part of the tree is what hit the house. And that would be the lighter part because the limbs are not as big. Not that it wasn't big. It looked pretty big.
Where it hit, it didn't do as much damage as it could because of the way it pivoted. It hit the fascia and the gable end more than coming down directly on the roof. So it only punctured in a few spots.
My goodness.
Fortunately,
Are they able to live in there?
Yeah, they're still living there. And we covered up the inside, patched it. So
how long is that going to job? How long is that kind of a job, or that particular job? How long will it take?
Well, the insurance adjuster will come out there and take a look at it.
You got to wait for that.
Yeah, they'll go. There'll be a scope of work that gets made up, and then they'll need to get a check for it.
Yeah.
So it could be a couple weeks.
Do you know pine trees can fall down real easy when they're dead? Mm-hmm. Real easy. Mm-hmm. I used to walk through the woods when I lived in Rainbow Lakes Estates, and that was an old tree farm. And you could just look at a tree and know that it's been dead a while, and literally just push it over, just fall right over.
They can be quite the opposite too if they turn into what they call a lighter tree, and that's where that sap hardens, and it's full of sap.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. And it's hard? But it's dead?
You will not be able to push it over.
But it's dead?
It's dead.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I pushed one over one time, and there was a hole at the top of it, and two animals were living in it.
I'm sure.
Two furry animals. I don't know what they were. But
squirrels, maybe?
They didn't look like squirrels, but they came running out. It was kind of cool. Yeah. I felt so bad. Oh, man. I didn't mean to take your house down. Yeah, I used to when the kids were little, I used to have them on my shoulders, and I'd take their little feet, their little shoes, and I'd say, "Watch this, you're Superman." Because I could tell which trees would fall,
right?
And we'd push down the trees, and whoa, and they'd go back and tell the other adults, "I pushed down the tree."
How fun!
I often wonder if they remember that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Joe, we're there. We're out of time. Wow.
We're out of time.
There's your music.
You have any questions, email me, joe@damageflorida. That's all spelled out, damageflorida.com. Or you can call me, 352-817-6574.
All right, it goes too quick.
Fastest half hour of my day.
So we'll see you. I'll see you on Facebook. I'll see you throughout the week. Usually we bump into each other here and there. And thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala. Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. More destruction in Nepal hit by a new quake which has killed dozens.
Some survivors reportedly pulled from the wreckage, and U.S. Marines and others have been helping to distribute aid from the last quake, so they may be well placed to help get the new injured to hospitals.
Fox Radio's Alistair